Congratulations on pulling the new INT BEERUS. My condolences. You were not able to get the beers. Whatever the case may be, you are watching this video because you are curious to see what are some of the best teams to run with the BEERUS. Now, this is a subjective video because it is opinion-based. What I feel are the best things for a team. You might feel differently. So if you guys agree, disagree, let me know in the comments down below. I will tell you this. Whenever I do these best teams video, I try to cover the best team that can be run with the main lead, the best teams off lead, and then the best teams no new units. Putting together this video was a disaster because I gotta say, outside of Realm of Gods and outside of characters that are BEERUS adjacent like the Whis and the Champa, you sacrifice a lot of the best word in favor of just putting teams together. So I'm gonna do my best to try to put together those teams, but just know, outside of Realm of Gods, it's not even close to being the same as far as being effective. You have to have a Realm of Gods character on the team for this part of the passive. You definitely want this because you need the extra 510% defense. The damage reduction is 30% higher on the first turn. After that, your damage reduction drops down to 10%. That's all you're getting. Actually, you're getting 30% because of this. But if you are getting this 30%, that means you are not fighting a Realm of Gods enemy. And by not fighting a Realm of Gods enemy, then you lose the guaranteed additional, you lose the team support, not the team support, but the Champa support aspect. There's a lot of give and take with this character, making him very finicky, not to mention his links are very niche. So if you just want to bring out the most out of the unit, you gotta run the unit on Realm of Gods. And that's why this video is probably going to be a little bit thinner than other videos in terms of options. And no new units wise, oh, it was not fun. I don't even think I'm happy with the no new units teams that I've put together. So after you watch these, please check the comments down below because there could be some crazy cool team that I just didn't think about, and that could help in whatever situation you might be in. So big shout out to Dokkan Database, Dokkan Stats for their awesome resources, the team builders on this site, and the leader skill check, the leader buffs the leader buffs feature. This is something I didn't really talk about before, but if you guys click on a character on the right side, besides leader skill, it says lead buffs. It does all the heavy lifting for you. You know how when you have a bunch of primary leads and a bunch of secondary leads, it can be very annoying and tedious having to cross-check every single combination of leader skills? With 3 primaries and 3 secondaries, this produces 12 possible leader skill combinations. 3 for Realm of Gods with these sub-leads, 3 for Planetary Destruction, these sub-leads, 3 for Successors and the sub-leads, and then the 3 categories by themselves. This does all of the work for you. You can see all the characters that fit each leader skill set at the various levels, making it a much easier and straightforward experience putting your team together. Dokkan hasn't done something like this in-game to streamline the process, but at least we have a resource that can do that for us, and this is very nice. And I use this in trying to put together my video, and I quickly realized, man, if I want to enjoy running BEERUS, I'm gonna have to run the same characters pretty much. Because for me, best teams isn't just about what they do, it's also about bringing the most out of their links. I like the links. So what I'm going to start by doing here is I'm going to put together what I think will ultimately be the best version of a team runnable with BEERUS. This is not a confirmed quantity right now because we don't know what some of these units can do. We don't know what the Whis EZA is going to look like. If I were to guess, this guy will probably be like a guaranteed dodge slot 1. Maybe this can also be a guaranteed dodge slot 1, but either way, these two link very well together. AGL Champa, you will find, is on virtually every team build that is good. AGL Champa is just sort of a must. If you don't have him, it's not the end of the world, but having this Champa and the INT BEERUS together, that's a Shaq and Kobe combination. That is a dynamic 1-2 punch. They both support very well. This Champa becomes so much better in the presence of that INT BEERUS. His damage reduction goes up to 76%. He gets additional 25% crit. He's already got, oh wow, he's got up to 66% crit. He can go up to 91% crit. He provides 66% support. There's just so much going for these two characters. So when trying to put together the best teams, you want to run the best teams with that maximum leader skill and Champa and BEERUS on those same teams, which severely limits our options. It basically means BEERUS, UI, and the Gohan. Not even God Goku. Not even God Goku. So basically just these 3. Anyway, that being said, let me finish this and then let's jump in and show our best teams. INT Weiss, by the way, big shout out to INT Weiss. He provides a 20% crit bonus. So with this guy on the rotation, after this Beerus gets hit, he can actually have 100% critical thanks to him. The trade-off is that his dodge is weaker because he only has 60 up to 50% dodge. This guy provides an additional 10% dodge for the Weiss, but if you build him max dodge, it could help. And then, you know, Vados, other characters like that. I feel like this free-to-play target focus Beerus from the 9th anniversary could see a bit of a resurgence because of the damage reduction and the extra stats that we get from this Beerus. Real quickly, unlike the God Goku, this guy is meant to more so get hit. And when he gets hit, he gets stronger for a couple of turns and he can counter and he can provide some nice synergy for other Realm of God siblings bond type characters, making that team a little bit more deep, a little bit more tanky, a little bit more effective. You do run the risk of getting sealed, getting stunned, because the dodging is just not nearly as reliable as the God Goku, which is why he's just not as safe of a choice, I feel like, in terms of summons. Like, if you have to choose between God Goku and Beerus, I'd go God Goku. Beerus doesn't need to be there, but if he is there, you want to be doing this by committee. You want to be running other Beerus type units, which would be Weiss, which would be Champa. So this is what I think will ultimately end up being somewhere around the best team that can be run with the Beerus, but we don't know yet. Now let's go ahead and jump in and go over the best teams that can be run with the Beerus right now. All right, so here's our first team with double Beerus as the main lead. This is a pretty solid setup. You've got Beerus, you've got Champa, you got that dynamic 1-2 punch, activating basically all links, giving them both 60% extra attack, 22% extra defense, 5% bonus critical. I want the other Beerus to be a floater because if you can have once in a while a rotation where Champa gets ultra juiced, not only will it help the Champa, but it will help the Beeruses as well. Don't forget, this team support gives all that apply. Well, first of all, Realm of Gods gets attack and defense plus 30% in general. But then if we factor in all the Champas and Beerus, which would apply to Realm of Gods Planetary Destruction, that is going to mean an extra, so attack and defense plus 30, attack plus 100%, defense plus 50, critical plus 50, dodge plus 25, damage reduction plus 10. You multiply all of that by 2, that is what's all going to be pouring into the Champa. Champa is crazy with all of that. That's basically guaranteed critical. That is 86% damage reduction. That would be 50% extra dodge. These two together would be a force of nature. We would be getting that every once in a while. On top of that, the super easy A Beerus is going to be seeing a considerable resurgence because of what he is capable of on a full movie boss or Realm of Gods team. He provides marginal support compared to this guy, but still he provides more synergy to the Champa, and Champa also helps the Beerus. So this is another good rotation. So 2 turns every 3 turns, this rotation will be seeing massive juice. And then you've also got this guy. He loses a little bit of his fire when he's on the rotation with the Champa, because in the presence of an extreme class ally, he loses a little bit of his slot 3. But if you're fighting an extreme class enemy, it's fine. Also, it's not that big a deal. But then on the flip side, the other rotation, you've got UI and God Goku, 2 dodging specialists. You've got the revive bonus down here. You could also switch this to the Royal Blue and focus more so on the Vegeta stuff, maybe keeping the Blue Vegeta in the slot 2, having these 2 work together, and you can have this guy be your floater. Let's just say you're very happy with this dynamic between Champa and Beerus, but you run the risk of getting killed on a particular turn. This guy can swoop in and give you that revive. And like I mentioned in the last video, if you didn't catch it, I've been saying it recently, based on the way that they've worded this, it's actually been very confusing. But unfortunately, his guaranteed dodge is once only. So he loses a lot of his dodginess after the revive. So at that point, he would be a more appropriate floater, and he could still function on this rotation because he would be getting an additional attack and defense plus 30 from him, and then an additional attack and defense plus 66 from Champa. You gotta have a Realm of Gods on the team to activate his intro. This guy needs to have a full Realm of Gods rotation to maximize all of his effects. So this is the best version of what you can run right now. In terms of alternates, whatever the future EZAs are going to be, in the STR Weiss, he'll probably be really, really good. BWE will be very, very good. Any UI Goku works, just like in the God Goku video. The Tech UI domain is going to be a nice buff in terms of damage. It's also going to provide extra dodge early on. AGL MUI, whatever you want. I also threw in Broly on this little team here because Broly is actually going to be a very tactically useful ability or a unit early on. Because we've got the ability to foresee enemy super attacks for the first 3 turns, that means for 2 solid turns, if Broly were to show up on that first turn, you could have him intercept any super attacks that were to come in to let his growth sort of get off to a quick start. For every super attack launched at this character, attack and defense permanently boosted by 30%. That's what makes this guy the Festival of Battles killer. He can basically solo the event. So you can take that on a smaller scale on events where you maybe just want this guy to get the ball rolling early. He can do that for you. In terms of running Beerus on a Broly team, it is possible. Exploding Rage, movie boss, it is possible. But remember, in order to maximize the Beerus, you need to have a Realm of Gods unit on the team as well, which would mean if you're trying to run them together, you have to have the tech Super Easy A, Beerus, but they don't link up. So he would basically just kind of be a floating independent unit on his own. Mainly, you would be running the Brolys, and then Beerus would just be a floater. That's not really the best way to bring the most out of him. So you're not going to be seeing a Broly-centric team here, but just know that it can be done. Also, this Broly has not yet officially come back as a coinable purchase. My guess is that this Broly will be returning as a coinable purchase in part 2 of this fake Golden Week celebration. Pretty similar to the last team that we talked about. This is probably going to be the more commonly used way to run Beerus, and that's WI. WI, you have the extra dodge support on the first turn. Beerus is a super class Realm of God, so he would be getting 14% extra dodge. If you have them both on the same rotation, he'd be getting 28% extra dodge. He then would also be giving both UIs 30% attack and defense. So this is a good way to start off the rotations if your setup is all screwed up. But then again, you want to go back to something like this to get the most out of the Beerus. If you don't have this Champa on a double UI Goku team, you have a little bit of wiggle room because you will get 7% extra dodge on that first turn if you bring another Champa. I will admit, no other Champa comes even close to the effectiveness that Champa provides. This guy has some attack potential. He can bring out those same links, but defensively, he is pretty vulnerable. With the scouting, you can get around this for the first couple of turns. If you've got the revive from the AGL God Goku on the team, that can help sort of bail you out if that is necessary. But unfortunately, AGL Champa has not come back on like a specific banner. He's a banner unit, so if you've pulled him, you got him. But yeah, that's what makes this so frustrating, because no AGL Champa means you don't get all of this, because this guy doesn't link up. So at that point, it would then you would have to resort to a Whis link or a Beerus and Whis. This would be the next best thing, honestly. And this is one of the alternates ultimately, so that would also work. And then just whatever else you can throw on Realm of Gods. There's really not much rhyme or reason in terms of team building. Just throw on any Realm of Gods. And once again, remember, this tech UI becomes more effective in the presence of the AGL God Goku because you got the bailout revive. But also with the scouting, if you know that the super attack is going to be happening slot 1, you don't want this guy to get hit, put this bum in slot 3, and then whatever else you got to do, make it work. INT Whis, free to play 9th anniversary LR Beerus. This Super Easy A can also be nice. He does hurt you though. Yeah, how much does he take? 7%? 5% HP on a super, but he can provide some slot 3 support. What if we throw in Gogeta? We use his target focus. We have that physical Champa here, and his target focus then redirects all the attacks to his guaranteed dodge. You get another turn of Champa being protected. Realm of Gods is so nice. All right, so now we try to move beyond the Realm of Gods setup and we move into Bond of Master and Disciple. This is probably the only other best way to run a Realm of Gods, sub team within another leader skill. Gohan, Future Gohan, one of the best LRs, one of the best units in the game in general. You've got the revive mechanic. Once one of these 2 revives takes place, the other one still inherits some nice abilities. So you can have one rotation dedicated to Bond of Master and Disciple, and then you can have the other one be the Realm of Gods subsection of the Bond of Master and Disciple. And again, we've got the Champa. Can't be helped. But if you don't have the Champa, a Whis of any kind would work, or just any other Bond of Master and Disciple that you would want to run. If you don't have the Champa, this God Goku or this blue Goku can actually be a much more reliable assistant to the Beerus, because Beerus primarily stacks defense multiplicatively, temporarily. So with this guy providing extra defense and also being a more reliable slot 1, you can amplify this guy's tankiness in the slot 2 to sort of compensate for the lack of the Champa. Champa is mainly giving you a lot of attack, but you are getting a nice amount of defense, 22% defense. So if that is not possible, then this can sort of help fill the void. And then you could have a Whis, Beerus and Whis, or whatever else. These two together wouldn't be a combination that you would typically run. And if you don't want to do something like that, then you can have both of these sort of be floaters. And if there's any other Bond of Master and Disciple units that you would want to run on the team, that would work too. Under alternates, you see UI Goku. I didn't want to throw UI Goku on the team because it's pretty obvious. If you've got UI Goku, you bring LR UI Goku. But what are some other good ways to set this up? I think LR Trunks and Vegeta. Trunks and Vegeta would be pretty good here. Bond of Master and Disciple, double Bond of Master and Disciple. This guy can provide team stacking, and then these two can link up. Or you want to throw this guy onto that rotation. That would actually work out. And you could do something like this. Maybe. There's some wiggle room here. LR Int Gohan, the Kid Gohan is an adequate substitute for that leader skill. Bond of Master Disciple, it is just at a lower level, 200% as opposed to 220. Also, he's not nearly as tanky and effective and whatnot. But he can give, if you run the right pieces on that team, you can provide the Link super attack to give the extra attack boost on multiple turns for the Beerus. As you can see, the options are starting to, fade here. As long as you have at least one other Realm of Gods on the team, this Beerus will be secure. Not nearly as synergy happy, but he will still be functional. And then it gets messy. We drop down to Lord Slug. So I'm showing two movie boss type teams. There might be better ones. I honestly couldn't come up with it. I don't know if it was just because I was trying to prioritize just giving Beerus some sort of synergy, but then I ultimately just gave up. I mean, look at this. You've got your demonic power requirements taken care of. The Lord Slug needs another 3 demonic powers. So 1, 2, 3. So that gives this guy full functionality. He has scouting capabilities after receiving 5 attacks. So for the first few turns, you've got scouting from Beerus. You then get more scouting from the Lord Slug, assuming you can survive then. This guy has lost a lot of his defensive prowess on the newer challenge events, but we're trying to run Beerus on other teams. And again, you gotta have one Realm of Gods unit on the team. And if it's not gonna be that AGL Champa, it's gonna have to be somebody else. AGL Champa doesn't fit. It's gonna have to be this guy. This guy works because he also gets his passive in the presence of movie boss. The only non-movie boss here would be the Goma. So if Goma's not on the rotation, it would probably be more fitting to do something like this. But man, the synergy just plummets. I mean, it's maybe at this point, it's not about Beerus being the focal point. It's just about filling your team, right? And it would be something more like you have Goma at the helm, providing team defense for multiple turns. Goma and Garlic together, they're a pretty formidable combination. You could do something like this, where you've got the domain and the support and the healing from the Lord Slugs in the slot 3 after they gain all their scouting, and then you run something like this. I mean, I don't know. This is where I said at the beginning of the video, it's gonna be tough. I got nothing, man. I got nothing. If you got some cool creative teams, I would love to see it. Let me know on the live stream, because we're gonna be attempting no new units. Oh god, no new units. All right, so there's this team. And then I said I wasn't really going to do a Broly team, but I'm just going to try it. Assuming Wrathful Broly does come back in part 2, we're just going to go ahead and put together this team. He would be outside of the no new units restriction at that point, but whether he is or isn't, this is still a team that you can run. So if we do this, Super Int Beerus, and then just fill it out with all your movie bosses, exploding rages. I don't know, man. This blows. This is terrible. I don't like this. I don't like showing you this ugly team. But here, you've got the scouting for 3 turns, so now the Brolys can intercept. You've got, immunity to, what is it, Ki Blast attacks? This Broly would probably have to be your slot 1. It would probably be more so something like this, where now Beerus is the afterthought. Is that really the best way to bring about the most out of the unit? No, but we don't have too many options. So something like that. If you've got other alternates, feel free to share. And now we get to no new units. If you've got LR physical UI, you would swap that in for this guy. But if you don't, per the rules of no new units, as of me recording this video, you would have to resort to something like this, a 170% lead. Now you might be wondering, Toon, why aren't you putting the physical Beerus? You could totally do that too. Beerus and the Resurrection F Blues both fit at 170%. This guy gives you the Exploding Rage leader skill as well. This guy just gives you the Realm of Gods leader skill. But either way, that works. I just don't feel as comfortable running this guy on the team because he needs to pick up 7 orbs in order to get 70% damage reduction. And we've learned on these newer fights, 70% damage reduction, that ain't gonna cut it. That ain't gonna work. Oh, wait, what? What happened here? So that's why I ran these. Yeah, I mean, it's just the same. It's the same thing. Let's throw in Beerus. We're just doing the same thing. Blue Goku slot 1, Resurrection F Blue slot 2, or this Blue Vegeta slot 2. This guy can be a floater. He only stacks for a couple of turns. Whis for some support. Super Easy A Beerus. Again, alternates would just be the incoming Easy A's and Super Easy A's. I just don't know what they're going to do, so I don't have them on this team, but they would very much be a part of the no new unit setup. So if we want to do that, then let's try something like this. Let's do Super Physical Beerus as our lead. Then we'll throw in STR Whis, because his Easy A, I'm going to guess, will be awesome. We'll take this guy out and we'll throw in LRB Wii. And now we've got dual rotations starting with Beerus. We've got accompanying high synergy Link buddies. And then we've got adequate support and assistance in the slot 3, where you can also switch around if you need to. This might be a better setup, but just keep in mind, his damage reduction is before he attacks. That's where he gets the most tankiness. After that, he's a little bit more vulnerable. So maybe we don't like this. We move him out and we put in back that Resurrection F Blues leader skill. And we do something more like this. This actually, you know what? This makes more sense to me. Because now you could swap the Beerus in, or you can keep him out. You could throw on Vados. Vados provides some nice support and dodging. I think this will probably be our best option. And I'm probably going to have to do something like this in my upcoming No New Units challenge. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what the hell this is. This is Battle of Fate. Battle of Fate. Where everybody here fits both leader skills, this guy doesn't get the full leader skill from the Beerus. Beerus's leader skill combinations are just too sticky, man. Realm of Gods, Planetary Destruction successors, you don't get a whole lot of no new units friendly combinations. So we are basically having to just accept that the Frieza here is getting a little bit less. And unfortunately, because of the combination of villains and heroes, we also lose, well, not as much. Yeah, not as much. But if we were to do something maybe like this, on the rotations where this Frieza's around, you need to have all villains or all heroes besides this unit to get certain abilities. You would lack that. But the main thing with this guy is that he would be a floater in the slot 3 with his damage reduction and guard with how many orbs he picks up. So assuming he can be a non-factor who floats off, maybe this can work. You definitely have the Realm of Gods restriction or condition to give him his scouting. So that allows you a first couple of turns of wiggle room. You can set up all your rotations how you want. Do something maybe like this where you can ensure that there are no extreme units that, oh yeah, there will be an extreme unit contradiction right here with this guy. So if you don't want to deal with that, you could have him also be a slot 3 and then maybe do something more like this. Synergy drops considerably, linkage drops considerably, damage output also drops considerably. But that's the best we got with the no new units thing. Man, sometimes I hate that I put that upon myself to do it. Anyway, those are the teams that I've put together for this video. Are they the best outside of Realm of Gods? No. Could they be better? Eventually, yes. But for the time being, if you really want this unit to thrive and do as well as possible with what you've got, it's got to be Realm of Gods. It's got to include at least 1 or 2 Whis and Champas and stuff like that. Because if it doesn't, you're better off just not running the character. Don't burden yourself with trying to run the Beerus on teams where he just doesn't fit in, unless he's your best unit. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on running Beerus on teams in general. How hard has it been for you to put together teams with the Beerus? Do you agree with my take that it is very much a problem to run him outside of Realm of Gods naturally? Let me know what you guys think. Any other team builds that you want to shout out, let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content in the future and click the notification bell so that you'll know when I see more of my stuff. Do it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.